You're listening to Siris Says podcast. Join us as we transcend cultural barriers and elevate diverse voices. Here, we inspire, inform, and empower one story at a time. Let's dive in. Hi, everybody. Thank you for listening to Siris Says. Today, I have an amazing guest, a designer that is to release his collection in 2025. And at the best, he's elegant, amazing, friendly, and super educated on his craft. So I'd like to introduce you, Victor Marrufo.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I'm extremely flattered, and I feel cheesy as hell. So thank you for everybody who has been tuning in and who is tuning into this show specifically for Siris Says. But a little bit about me, I'm a fashion designer. I started my brand, Victor Marrufo, that's named after myself, a year ago. And I'm dropping my official collection next year. And I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, no, me too. Those of you who are actually going to watch the video, you get to see this amazing design dress right behind us. So yeah, Victor, I want you to introduce and where did you get inspired to come up with this design?
Yeah, so my inspiration from this design is based off of my essence of elegance and beauty. Mainly, this dress, I named it after Cyrus. So this is the Cyrus gown, Cyrus dress. So I'll be posting about it on my Instagram. But basically, this was influenced to how she would look in black. And we've had previous conversations before, and I told you, I don't know why, Cyrus, I picture you in a black gown. So yeah, and when I put this together, this is for her, and also because this is a remarkable gown for this show, and so why not name it after you? So
yeah, no, thank you. I'm so flattered that you created a design after my name. Very classy, like me.
yes, yes.
Talk a little bit about how do you started with design, which I know you personally, but I've only known you for the past maybe 3 years. But you have a little bit longer. Sorry, the pandemic seems like very recent, but it's been quite a while. We actually met in the pandemic. Fun fact: we met through work, and he's in a total realm now, which is amazing. But yeah, give the listeners a little bit of the background and when did you started to really feel like design was the thing that you wanted to do?
Oh, that's a really good question. So let's go back to like 2009. I started doing makeup. I started off doing makeup on my sister and doing like these random photo shoots. And then from there, I became a makeup artist. I had this vision of beauty. Started doing makeup on girls, my friends, and then it went on to clients and weddings, and then going on from there to photo shoots. And I kind of blew up. I'm originally from the city of Chicago. So in Chicago back then, makeup and beauty was still kind of becoming a thing, right? And that's along with social media. Back then, everything was through Facebook.
Taking off.
This was before Instagram, before TikTok, before anything. We're talking about when Facebook was like the MySpace.
Which is really crazy because I've never feel like the top social media you would go for inspiration per se.
Right.
I usually think of it like as a directory for family or friends that you made or lost along the way. But yeah, how was Facebook back there?
Well, Facebook was more of like you would post like your everyday move and you would post everything, but it was the best method to network. So how I became known in the makeup world in Chicago was going to fashion shows, being involved in local beauty pageants and things like that, which with beauty pageants has a big influence in my vision of beauty. Because I have trained girls and all that good stuff, but that's a whole other spiel. Point is, I got into really good gigs, magazines, shows. I traveled to Venezuela. I mean, because it was not myself, I had like a lot of good connects. We made it happen.
Yeah. If you guys are new to the podcast, I am from Venezuela. So the fact that he knows where I'm from, it's like mind blowing because very few people actually know Venezuela.
See.
And he actually knew the country when it was at its best.
Yes.
All time best.
In a sense. Yeah. I mean, compared to now.
Yeah, compared to now.
I won't say the channels and things like that because, I'm not getting paid for them.
We're not getting paid, so we're not mentioning it. We are petty like that, yes.
We have to be kind of, like we're not getting paid for this. Been there, done that, right? So then I moved to LA for a big magazine. And when I moved out here, it didn't happen. The contract failed. So I took a 10-year hiatus, not because of that. I got into a relationship. took a 10-year hiatus. However, I always kept corner of my eye, and I kept being in tune with fashion. And once I was like really heavily involved. However, I will say that every single time I got laid off from a job or the contract ended and I had to find new, I would always say, you know what, I'm gonna quit this, I'm gonna start my fashion brand. I'm gonna quit this, I'm gonna start my fashion brand. I will say it every single time.
Yeah.
The pandemic hit and when everybody got laid off, well, most of us, I'm gonna start my fashion brand. I kept talking about it, but I was always scared.
Yeah.
I was always scared of it. I don't know why.
You're so right. I think being scared is the biggest hurdle to get over. Once you go through it, even being scared, I think you can really get over the hump and really start living your dreams. But being okay with the uncomfortable, it's a very key thing. So what would you give the listener advice? How do you get over the hump, that scaredness and that fear that we all have because we all experience it?
Okay, so to your question, I don't come from a golden spoon, right? I don't come from a wealthy
Fair enough.
family. My life back when was my childhood, my teenage years were horrible. I do plan on releasing a book that I already wrote about my life because yes.
Okay, good.
So
you guys are listening, right? I'm the very first person that knows this news.
yes, no, and you know what? This is my first interview as a fashion designer, so I mean it's a big deal.
And once you release that book, please come back.
Absolutely, we'll talk about it in more detail. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes, so I do talk a lot about what I went through. And there's things that are unmanageable. In order for me to start my fashion brand, I had to heal within. I really did. I had to overcome my past. I had to overcome the old me. I had to break through the eggshell of not being afraid of what people think.
Yeah.
And satisfying everybody's vision of what they want for me or past relationships that they dragged you down, they angered you down. So I had to do a lot of self-work before I did the courage of saying, F it, I'm gonna go for it. And here we are. Here we are. It took me to the age of 36. And mind you, I just turned 36 a month ago on September 7th.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's never too late. I kid you not. It's never too late. So it's like, whenever you're ready, go for it.
Awesome. Thank you for that advice. I really like it. Those listeners that you're listening or watching us, just know that you're not alone. And I know it sounds very cliche because everybody says it, but know one thing. If you do that one thing that you love, I feel like it's not as hard because you sort of take joy even in the hard and the difficulty. There's a level of joy, and that's how you know you're in the right path of what you're meant to be or doing. So next question I have, you pride yourself in elegance, and next collection in 2025, like what do you want to portray? What do you want the brand to feel like? Who do you want to cater to? And what can people expect from your collection overall?
Ooh, I love these questions. So for my collection, I want to deliver to everybody and all inclusive in all sizes.
I can attest to that because recently you released a plus size model wedding dress. Like she came to you specifically because she couldn't find anybody else who could do this.
Correct. Yeah. And her wedding, so just giving a little bit more detail.
Yes, please.
There is a plus size client of mine who is getting married next week actually.
Yes.
And it's my first plus size ever. And why not go for it as a gown? So she's excited. She loved the dress. She already said yes to the dress. We're in on it. So it's like, it's happening. But if I can dress a skinny girl, per se, in a plus size, and even men, because I design for men as well, I can do whatever.
You can do it all.
So my 2025 collection is going to be for everybody. And that's even including non-binary.
I love that.
Because there's women and men that they're like, I am okay by wearing a purse. I'm okay with wearing a skirt.
Yes.
There's women that I'll wear a blazer. There's all kinds. So I want to deliver a little bit of everything, and even to all cultures as well. My designs are more reserved, a little bit more conservative because, and I'm not politically, and I don't want to bring politics to this, right? Yeah. So let's not go there. But I feel like a lot of millennials, we're all gearing towards a lot of more mature eras.
Yes.
Because we're no longer dressing how we used to do back in the day. Like women don't wear like see-through clothes, and it's just a different vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean like everything. I think there's the eras, right? And so like
Right.
in like with fashion, it's like it rotates. So we went from skimpy, sexy, like messy,
Very
to
messy.
now we're going into more of sort of a vibe, right? We
Yes.
want to convey professionalism. We're getting older. Also, we're chic. You know,
Yes.
chic is like the new thing nowadays.
Yeah, it's chic if you follow the trend.
Right.
But I've noticed that most people dress up in gym gear because
Yes.
it's comfortable. You're in, you're out.
The
You know,
leisure wear. Yeah.
right. However, everybody keeps forgetting that you do go to events, you go to weddings, you go to socials. I mean, there's so many things that you can go to.
Right.
What would you wear to that? And that's something that I want to deliver to. Like, I don't want to wear a dress all coutoured up to like a happy hour. No, no, no. She could wear a nice blazer, some nice some nice pants.
Mm-hmm.
She's good to go. But that's the thing, like, because she needs to show that power.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have really been hiding behind gym gear or like the flannels, things, which are cute. I believe me.
No, yeah,
But
they're super comfortable.
there's a time and place that you need to dress it up, in my opinion, as a designer.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people like they'll do like a sweatpants with a blazer, and like I wanna
like,
I wanna love it, but at the same time, it's like, what are we giving? Like I just got out of bed and I'm here to like jump in. Like we're not in COVID anymore, y'all. Like we're not working remote anymore. So it's like we need to decide: do I want to put my foot forward to be professional, or like do I want to just stay in bed?
Yes.
Like with the sweatpants, you know.
There are times when I'm designing, because my collection is based off of everything I think of.
Yeah.
A woman who's single, who's struggling to get a man.
Yeah.
You don't want to look too simple. And if a guy gets intimidated, that's on them. But ladies need to step it up. I've gone to places that they'll go to a gown, in a like Sunday picnic dress and wedges, and that bugs me.
And you want to
that bugs me.
Yeah, and you do want to set a standard, especially if you're single, ladies. Like if you got a whole facade, I'm just kidding. But like I'm meaning like you really are showing people how to treat you, and that also includes your attire. So if you're single, it's very important that you put the best foot forward. So at least they give you a chance, right? Let's say you're not the best looking person, and let's say, but if you have a great personality, but they can't get past the personality unless they find you to a level of attractiveness.
Right.
So you gotta dress up and look good, look clean.
And let's not forget the gentleman, because I design for everybody.
For sure,
but
yes.
even gentlemen, how are you gonna go to a bar in a baggy t-shirt?
I've seen them with like ripped jeans. And it's a turn off essentially.
I wish I could say something about ripped jeans, because I recently met someone that sent me a picture of them in ripped jeans. Like they literally, it was destroyed. I'm like, dude, it's
Like,
2025. Well, we're going to 2025.
If you're in your early 20s, sure.
Not even. The people in the 20s right now, they're wearing baggy pants.
Oh, okay.
Baggy
that's
jeans.
The style.
That's the style.
True. Yeah, but the ripped jeans.
Yeah, no, it's not impressive. I will say this, like,
and I have a couple, okay, but I'm not single.
But okay, so we need to change that.
But we'll
talk about it after the show.
Yeah, no, I don't use them often. I think it's just like depends on what you're trying to portray out there.
True.
Again, if you're single and you're trying to get with somebody, maybe you need to be a little more cautious about what you're wearing. Yeah.
I recently went to a book event with Raw Roach, which he styles Zendaya, Celine Dion, and many other artists. And one thing he said, fuck all the rules in fashion. You wake up and you dress up however you want. And that is true.
Yeah.
What I have to say behind that is true, but there's a time and place. Like, you're not going to... And I'm sure Law, if you're watching this, he would agree. There's a time and place. You're not going to go to the Oscars in sweatpants, right? And that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, and this is part of where my design comes in, that where I really want to accentuate fashion and beauty for everybody.
Yeah. Going back to the collection, so what can we expect? Because I want to know.
So if you go on my Instagram right now, you will see a lot of suits and evening gowns.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm using that more as a marketing platform to get my name out there.
Yeah.
So later on, if all goes well, I would love to do and I'm going off the question, but I'm aware, kind of do like a master class of my strategy.
Oof, I love
Because
that.
I specifically have a strategy of what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. Every step of the way, it's mapped out.
And I think that's great because I actually haven't heard from anybody from the design industry wanting to also like communicate so closely with the masses, which I think is great that you're gonna do that.
Yes.
Because some of them they just seem so far to reach type of thing, you know?
Right, right, right.
And I mean I get it, but at the same time it's like us as customer we want that like feeling of like closeness and are we relatable, you know,
Yeah,
to some
everybody's
extent.
relatable in some way.
Right.
Everybody is. We all have our differences, but at the end of the day, we do have some type of relativity of some sort. So the advantage that I have as a fashion designer is I went hard in gaining a lot of experience in the corporate America world. So I do come in with a corporate mentality.
That's true.
So I manage one of the biggest, well, I want to say businesses in the world, and you are my testimony.
Yeah, that's how we met.
That's how we met.
We met during COVID.
Yes.
We don't want to go too much in detail,
No.
but it was for a corporation working very hard during the pandemic. And I'll leave it up to you guys' imagination on what it was. But yeah, he was managing one of the biggest operations of probably the United States actively
Was
in
that
2019.
in the world?
Yeah, to the world, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God.
And we were helping a lot of states.
We helped massively.
Yeah.
I was part of that team, and he was more operational. I was more project management in that particular role. And yeah, we achieved amazing things. But also, we learned at the end of it all is you need to have a backup. And
Yes.
this is where your fashion comes.
Yes. So, and then after that, I ended up learning how to run small businesses from the next company. So I learned the whole thing. I don't want to go too in detail, right? But I learned business to the T. So that's when I got the confidence. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to start this brand. So I went to New York Fashion Week, made it happen over there.
Oh my God, it was stunning.
Yeah, no, it was a good show. It was a good experience. I went to some great shows. Shout out to Jackie.
Jackie is your?
Is my assistant. She's someone that I see a lot of potential in her, and we're gonna move forward in a lot of big projects. So, but if you guys have questions or you want to see who she is, go on my Instagram and go on my New York Fashion Week bubble.
She'll be tagged. Yeah.
Yeah, she's there. So I'm excited for my new collection coming out in 2025. The goal right now is to release it in another city. I can't say where, but it's not gonna be in the U.S. And so that's the big part. There's reasons why.
Where, but I don't want to spoil it.
No, I'll come back for another interview for that. But I will say that I won't be releasing it here in the U.S.
Yeah, I know.
Then there's reasons why.
There's many reasons. I want to go a little bit sidetrack into your culture because my podcast is a lot. Big part of this podcast is having people to connect with, people that are multicultural, people that are immigrants, and your parents are immigrants themselves.
Correct.
And they ended up in Chicago. So you're technically first generation Mexican American?
I'm technically second.
Second.
Yes, and I'll explain a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So technically, my grandparents moved from Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua. Shout out to everybody from Juaritos. and they moved to Tennessee in the 60s, and from there they moved to Chicago. Awesome. But they raised me. So my grandparents, they both raised me, and my biological parents were never in the picture.
Right. That's where he talks about the struggle before, and we're not gonna go in depth on that.
No.
This is not the podcast for that.
No.
But I do want to say, like, what was the influence of Mexican American and the Latino culture from Mexico in Chicago? What you saw that was very noticeable at the time, when you're growing up?
Yeah. So my grandparents were heavily involved in working in manufacturing companies or fabricas, right? A lot of Monday through Friday, Saturdays and Sundays were more of like, let's handle business. And I saw the struggle, what they had. My grandparents did with their best. And I also got raised with my uncles who were in gangs in Chicago. That has a big influence of who I am today. And I'll say this publicly and openly, like, I saw a lot of gangs and drugs and guns and violence and
Chicago was kind of the hub.
It was. It was. So when I can say I'm from the hood, I'm from the hood. I really am, because I mean, even when I moved in with my mom, and I'll explain this in my book when it's released. I went to I want to say like a hood high school. And so I saw a lot of things there too. So trust me, when I understand the struggle, I get it. I can relate to that.
Which a lot of American high schools go through that too. I went through Florida. I went to 2 different high schools and actually saw a couple things that were like, whoa.
Yeah.
Another question, I want to deviate from this heavy topic that we just talked about. But where did you get the inspiration to be a designer? Like, who was your biggest, role model?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That inspired you?
I always had it in me, and now I'll explain, because when I was younger,
he was born with it, y'all.
I mean, I would love to say that. I can't confirm it, but I will say that when I was younger, I used to dress up my uncles. I'd tell them, wear those jeans with those gym shoes and that hoodie, or like wear this and wear that. Uncle's girlfriend, I would tell her, do your makeup like this and wear this lipstick. I was a second, third grader. What am I doing? So I felt that I had it. I will have something to admit. I've never said this before. I used to have a list in my notebook in class, and the back of the page, I used to write down the hot girls of class, and I would design what they would wear.
Oh, wow.
So I would draw like little stick figures of like, okay, Jasmine's gonna wear this, and this girl's gonna wear that, and this girl's gonna wear that. And I will put the shoes, and I will put the dress, and I thought it was so weird. I'm like, oh, I'm weird. I will throw it away. And I started to then I started to discover like, okay, I'm gay, and no, and then later on, I started to get more involved in fashion when I went to a 7-Eleven and I saw a Vogue magazine, and that's when I was like, what is this? And honestly, I told my grandma, hey, this is for a school project for photography. I need to cut out some like pictures. Can you buy this for me? She was like, what? And she bought it for me, and ever since then, I have a stack of Vogue, Elle, and Bazaar magazines.
That's awesome.
Which is why right now my goal is to get into Vogue. We'll talk about that later.
No, for sure. Vogue is definitely up there.
Vogue is definitely up there. Yes. Yes.
Oh, I love that. So you know this is what you wanted to do from a very young age.
Very.
And that's beautiful.
Yes.
And regardless of the time that it took you, you still are getting there. And I mean, we see it. I mean, I have it right here next to me. My goodness.
Yes.
The beauty of the creations that you bring into this world, which are beautiful.
Yes. I feel like it's time to bring elegance back.
I think so too. And when I used to go to work, everybody always told me like, Siris, you dress so nice. I was the best dressed. And to me, it was mind blowing because giving a little bit of background about myself, I have no fashion in my bones. Like, I was like a strawberry girl. Like, that's how my mom dressed me as a kid. And I had, my mom didn't have like, I love you, Mom, but she didn't have the best sense of fashion herself. She was a model at some point in her youth, but maybe that's why I wanted to be a model at some point. But I really wanted to as a kid, but I realized like I'm meant for other things, and this is one of them, right? Being a host this podcast, which I'm really passionate about. It's insane that people, I was just trying a little bit, really got noticed at work, and I was like, this is insane to be dressing up, especially in the corporate world. But I think things have shifted. Unless you're in sales, they don't demand it, so to speak. So, I don't know. You tell me what's happened, Victor. Where did it all fall apart? No.
I really do feel the pandemic really did have a halt on fashion and influenced fashion, because even some of the fashion brands, their collections weren't the strongest. Who was looking at fashion? Nobody cared. We were trying to survive. Most of us thought we were going to die because we didn't know at the time, you know, so we were all scared. So fashion really wasn't a priority.
Yes. Smaller mid-price companies actually outperform the more luxury brands. What do you think that happened like recently? Is it social media? Because you see them a lot on Instagram.
They revamped.
They revamped, like branding, right?
Yeah, they have to revamp. You have to test it out. You have to test out what exactly is hitting. And then from there, and this is part of something that's my strategy. If it doesn't hit, you're not a failure. Whatever the idea that you put out is the failure. So you can take a step back and then put something new back out and see how that works. And then if that hits, run it and then experiment with it. That's all it is. And this is when my business mentality kicks in, where this is when I know that in fashion, I know what the hits and the misses are because I do study everything.
No, yeah.
And I really do. I look at it. I look at everything. Right. And to be honest, even on TikTok, I'm on it.
I know he's big on TikTok, y'all.
Not on my actual page. I'm not big on my page. But I mean,
like he really pays attention.
I do.
Know you oftentimes mention to me, TikTok, there's this trend, there's this, and you are, which is great because that's like one of the latest, you know, social medias that is taking off. So it's great that you are up to date with the latest social media.
I mean, one thing that I appreciate of ladies and men is that everybody speaks their opinions about what they want. If they watch a certain show, I won't say what show it was, but they're like, how come their hair wasn't like this? How come we were used to this and we want this and we want that? And I love that because they're feeding that information over to me as a designer. So it's like, okay, this is what they want. This is what they, you know, so.
How do you feel about fast fashion?
It's great.
It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really bring it down because.
But where would fast fashion never meet high, you know, luxury brands and high design? Like where does the line cut? You know.
So it really is based off of quality. You get what you pay for, right? Yeah. Now, if you're gonna go to like a barbecue or a baby shower, and you're just like, I'm not gonna wear a gown to a baby shower, you go to a fast fashion brand and you buy it and you're good to go. Okay. But if you're going to a specific event, or you're going to a red carpet event or a wedding, then yes, that's different. You want to look your absolute best. Okay. So that's the difference.
Thank you.
You're not gonna go to a fast fashion brand to go over there. And it is what it is.
All right, guys, we're going to do a quick pause for a sponsor. We'll be right back.
Today's episode is sponsored by RenovateMagicHub.com, your guide to transforming your home. Whether you're updating a room or planning a full makeover, Renovate Magic Hub provides tailored product suggestions to suit your style and budget. Visit RenovateMagicHub.com for inspiring and practical tips to create a space you'll love.
All right, guys, we're back from our sponsor video. Thank you. So Victor, I have just one last question. What has been the most rewarding part of, you know, your design career?
I think the most rewarding thing would have to be getting to know everybody's perspective in fashion. I really love to connect with people. I love to hear everybody's opinions because I feel like everybody's opinion matters. Yes, I'm a designer. I design, I put things together. But I also want to hear of what a person wants. I feel like that's important. That's valid.
That's very valid.
So knowing what they want, connecting with them, knowing where they come from, because there's conversations that happen when I'm designing for like a client. That all matters. And that's rewarding to me for some odd reason. It's comforting, right? On the other side, I would have to say the unimaginable experiences I've been through so far this year has been wild, but not in a bad way. I will share this much. I was a person that was a 4-year-old at a homeless shelter, put it that way. And I didn't, like I keep saying, like I didn't grow up with a golden like spoon. I grew up pretty poor.
Yeah.
And to go through the things and experience and be in the room with certain people that are so important in fashion, I'm like, holy shish kebab. Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh my God. And to give the listener hopes out there, people who are listening who are like, oh my God, like how can I be in that level that you're at? Like, just to know that no matter what background you come from, if you have the will, there's a way, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say this. Whatever it is you do, fashion or art, business, marketing, whatever it is, your art will show and people will see it. If you're doing something right and it's calling people's attention, you're doing something right. If you're passionate about something and it's not calling attention, fix it. And then you'll get attention from people. That's really what it is. It's trial and error. And then it happens.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. One last question. So let's say a girl is venturing out into, she wants to buy a couple pieces. What do you recommend, like head to toe, one piece that's very versatile that women should buy out there?
A black cocktail dress.
Oof, good one. I agree.
You can never go wrong with that. Why? You could wear a cocktail dress, wear it with a blazer, wear it with a sweater for depending on what event. You could cut it a little bit. You could do whatever you want, but I feel a black cocktail dress is critical.
What about the heels?
It depends on your comfort zone. Now, if I would tell you my style, like, it's just
8-inch. No,
I'm a high heel person. Not that I wear them, but when I look at a woman, I always expect her to wear like high heels. But then again, I'm starting to, and you know what? Shame on me because I'm starting to understand more that not everybody can wear 4-5 inch heels. It's not a thing anymore. So, but there is some really good shoes out there that are like kitten heels, and they're really nice. And I honestly, I'll let that slide. You wear whatever's comfortable for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Feel comfortable.
That. All right, guys. So we're wrapping up. The last guest left a question.
Okay.
And the question was.
Oof. Okay.
And I want you to answer. And then
ooh, I'm nervous.
So the question is, if you could do something else other than the career that you chose for yourself, which is design, what else would Victor Marrufo be doing?
Being a doctor.
Ooh.
A medical doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, to be honest, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a doctor, and even when I was younger, because I was scared of accepting that fashion was my thing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a doctor. And even when I was in hiatus within the fashion and beauty industry, I was a pre-med. So I'm a pre-med major.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a pre-med major, but I did it because it was like the safer thing, the macho thing to go for in my mind. Not,
right.
It was like, okay.
To prove a point.
To prove a point, like I got this.
Yeah.
But then I got really comfortable with myself. I put myself first. I put my likings and what I enjoy the most first. And it's fashion, and it is what it is. I will never go back.
So, what would be the question that you'll leave for the next guest to answer?
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
Ooh, it's gonna be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to them, or
whoever it is. Like, what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? Let's spice it up. Let's make it fun.
Guys, this resume our show. Thank you so much, Victor, for being here. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you. Where can people find you? Social media?
Yes. The best way to contact me or to look at my stuff or follow me is on Instagram. That's where I'm mostly active. So I'm under V Marrufo, VMARRUFO. If any has any inquiries or you just want to follow me and chat with me, I am active on there, so we can definitely be in touch. But I want to say thank you so much, Siris, for having me in your show. It's meaningful. This is a very iconic moment for myself, for my brand, for it being the first exclusive interview.
Thank you so much
as a fashion designer. Like, I feel special today. I wore my best cologne, and thank you so much for bringing wine because it's a thing. Cheers. I love Chardonnay, and so you nailed it. I love Chardonnay. I don't like red wine. I love my Chardonnay.
I like cold wine. So
this one was cold. So thank you so much. So cheers to my homies.
Cheers. It's been great having you. I am so honored that I get to present you as the very first interview for your collection.
It's a pleasure.
I can't wait for 2025. I wish you nothing but the best.
It's gonna be fun.
I'm gonna be in the front row seats too.
Yeah, no, you will for sure be in tune.
Yeah. So guys, there it is. You heard it. Stay in touch with Victor Marrufo and his social media handle, which I'm gonna put on the video. And if you didn't catch it, then go back and listen to his handle again. He's amazing. He's always on the go. He's in tons of fashion shows he goes to and gets inspired and all of that. I still can't get over this amazing dress behind me, guys. So
the Siris dress.
If you're a listener, I do encourage you to also watch this episode just because you get to see this amazing design right behind me and I just love it. So yeah, thank you everybody for staying in and listening. I really appreciate you. This was Victor Marrufo.
Bye guys, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Siris Says. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and drop a like. Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for more inspiring stories. Until next time, keep chasing those dreams.